So good day everyone. This is the collaborative work of the Group 4 entitled the Comparative Country Study, which is the Japan as developed country and the Philippines as the developing country. So in terms of growth and structure, Japan has the advanced industrial exports, high value services, global investment positions, technology leadership, and diversified trade partners. Their problem was the mature economy with low growth potential, aging population, raising aging population, raising fiscal pressures, exposure of high value capital to global competition and supply chain. In the Philippines naman, export growth in electronics, services, remittance from the overseas Filipino workers, FDI in manufacturing and services, access to global value chains creates jobs. The problem naman in the Philippines is low domestic capital and technology gaps, dependence on low value segments of the GVCS, vulnerability to external shocks like the demand swings, the commodity price changes. In Japan, Japan's economy is based on the advanced industrial exports like the car, robots, and electronics, and provide high value services. And also they invest abroad and has a strong trade relations worldwide. So their problems was the Japan has a mature economy, like they are already developed, and so growth is slow. It has an aging population, many old peoples, and fewer na lang ang mga young workers, which increases healthcare and pension costs. In the Philippines naman, Philippines growth comes from the electronic exports. Businesses process outsourcing like the BPO, business process, yes, BPO, like call centers, remittance from the overseas Filipino workers, and foreign direct investment in manufacturing services. The problem naman in the Philippines is the Philippines has a low domestic capital, less money to invest internally, technology gaps, and relies on low value segments of the global value chains. It's vulnerable to external shocks like the global demands falling or commodity price changes. Let's move on to the labor and social effects. In Japan naman, high skilled employment, international mobility for skilled workers and companies, access to global talent via corporate network. The problem, aging workforce, labor shortage in care and production, pressure to liberalize protected sectors like the social tension over globalization's distributional effects. In the Philippines naman, the employment in call centers, manufacturing hubs, and overseas work, skill acquisition through transnational employment. The problem is brain drain or skilled migration, precarious jobs, weak labor protections in formal sectors, wage pressure from global competition. So what does this mean? So what it means is the Japan has high skilled employment and uses international mobility to bring in skilled workers when needed. Companies can tap into global talent through networks. Ang problem was the Japan workforce is aging and shrinking. There are labor shortage in care homes, like homes in agriculture and factories. There are also tension about letting in more foreign workers. In the Philippines, many Filipinos work in call centers and manufacturing hubs, garipak, or go abroad for employment. They gain skills through transnational employment, like working abroad, then magbalik sila or they return in the Philippines. Ang problem lang is the Philippines faces brain drain. Many skilled professionals migrate permanently. Job at home can be precarious with weak protections. Wages face pressure from the global competition. Just like for example sa brain drain, thousands of Filipinos doctors retrain as nurses to work abroad for higher pay. Another precarious jobs, many BPO workers are on contract or night shifts without strong union protection.
Okay, let's proceed to institution and policy space. Japan, strong institutional capacity to negotiate complex trade investment agreements, shape global governance through OECD, G20, and attract high-quality FDI. In the Philippines, access to international institutions, IMF, World Bank, ADB, and development finance policy, learning and institutional reform incentives, trade agreements, anti-corruption conditionalities. Constraints need to harmonize domestic regulation with international forms can limit policy discretion. Example, intellectual property trade remedies but the capacity to adapt is high in Japan. In the Philippines, constraints, weaker bureaucratic capacity, political patronage, corruption, and regulatory capture limit policy implementation. Conditionalities can constrain policy autonomy. What is institution and policy space? When we talk about institutions, those are the formal and informal systems, rules, and organizations that structure political, economic, and social life. They include government agencies, legal systems, regulatory bodies, financial institutions, civil service, and even informal norms that guide how society is governed. Strong institutions mean transparency laws, reliable courts, efficient bureaucracy, and accountable leaders that enforce rules fairly. Weak institutions may lead to corruption, regulatory capture, or inconsistent policies which reduce the benefits of globalization. Let's proceed to policy space. Refers to the freedom and flexibility of governments to design and implement policies such as economic, social, or environmental that suit their national interests in the context of globalization. For example, the Philippines sometimes has limited policy space because reliance on foreign aid or loans ties its policies to donor condition. In Japan, as developed country enjoys greater policy space, it can design industrial strategies, regulate technology, or shape international trade rules without heavy external constraints. When we talk in terms of Japan, OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, it is an international organization on advanced economies that promotes policies for sustainable growth, trade, and good governance. When we talk about G20 or Group of 20, a forum of the world's major economies, 19 countries plus the European Union that discusses global financial stability, that's trade and development. We talk about FDI, foreign direct investment, which means cross-borders investment where company or individual establishes lasting interest in another country's economy such as factories, subsidiaries, and partnership. In the Philippines, what is ADB? It is an Asian Development Bank, a regional development bank based in Manila, founded in 1966 that provides loans, grants, and technical assistance to promote economic growth and poverty reduction in Pacific area, funds major infrastructure projects, support policy reforms in education, governance, and climate. In the Philippines, institutions struggle with enforcement due to corruption and political patronage, making it harder to attract sustainable investment. In Japan, institutions are stronger, bureaucracies are efficient, contracts are enforced, and corruption is relatively low, allowing Japan to negotiate and implement globalization policies effectively. That's the comparative study of Japan and Philippines.
Okay, let's proceed to the governance, accountability, and rights. So, the comparison highlights how governance and accountability functions in Japan and the Philippines, with a focus on the rules of civil society, media, and international influences. So, Japan, robust civil society, independent media, and judiciary that help hold government and corporation accountable in the international arena. So, robust civil society. Japan features a strong civil society, independent media, and judiciary. These elements ensure that the government and corporation are held accountable even in the international stage. Globalization can pressure domestic governance via capital mobility. Example, tax, competition, and require complex regulatory coordination. So globalization pressure. Globalization impacts domestic governance through capital mobility, such as tax, competition, necessitating complex regulatory coordination. So in the Philippines, transitional NGOs and media can pressure government for better governance, human rights norm disseminated internationally. So Philippines, transitional influence. Transitional NGOs and media plays a significant role in pressuring the government for better governance. They help disseminate human rights norms internationally. So, weak rule of law in places, selective enforcement, and possible backlashes, such as populist or authoritarian responses frame as resisting global elites. So, rules of law challenges. The Philippines faces challenges with the weak rule of law, selective enforcement, and potential backlashes, including populist or authoritarian responses. So, the key differences and considerations. So, system strength. Japan established institutions provide a solid foundation for accountability, while the Philippines relies more on external pressure and faces internal challenges in maintaining the rule of law. Globalization impact. Both countries experience the impact of globalization, but they respond differently based on their internal governance structure and societal dynamics. And that's all. Thank you.
Now let us proceed to the culture of developed country, which is Japan, the identity and the media. So Japan's cultural exports, including anime, cuisine and design, enhances its soft power by promoting a positive national image and captivating global audiences, which fosters goodwill and admiration for the country. This cultural influence extends to reinforce Japanese brands, making them more appealing and recognizable worldwide, while also stimulating tourism as fans and enthusiasts become curious about the cultures and places that inspire their favorite shows, food, and or design. Now let us proceed to the developing country, which is the Philippines. Global media and digital platforms increase cultural exchange, diaspora influence, and access to global education and art. Hybrid cultural forms flourish, localizing global pop, food, and fashion. Constraints, risk of cultural homogenization and loss of local practices. Consumeration rises, local industries, just like film and music, face intense competition. So the Philippines' engagement with global media and digital platforms has facilitated a vibrant cultural exchange, allowing the country to share its unique heritage while embracing international influences, thereby enriching its cultural landscape. The diaspora plays a significant role in the exchange, bringing back new ideas and practices that blend with traditional Filipino culture, resulting in hybrid forms that are distinctively Filipino, such as the localization of global pop, music, food trends, and fashion styles. This cultural fusion not only showcases the Philippines' creativity and adaptability, but also enhances its global connectivity, making it an integral part of the global cultural community.
Japan makes use of multilingual corporate and academic networks which help in international collaboration and businesses. Their cultural diplomacy example promoting Japanese culture abroad through anime, cuisine, and traditions, and global branding also reinforce a strong national identity. These strategies allow Japan to stay competitive and respective in the global stage while still promoting its own culture. Japan faces pressure from global norms that sometimes clash with its domestic traditions. Examples: the influence of consumerist culture, encouraging materialism and spending habits, changing work norms, shifting from traditional long working hours and strict hierarchy to more flexible global standards. Despite these challenges, Japan tends to adapt selectively, meaning it chooses which global influences to adapt while still preserving core cultural traditions and values. In short, Japan's language and values emphasize balancing modern global integration with the preservation of traditional cultural identity. In Philippines, English proficiency makes Filipinos highly adaptable and competitive in global settings. When we say diaspora ties, for example, overseas Filipinos working and living abroad, strengthening cultural exchange, global mobility, and service-based industrials like BPOs and international trades. The challenges of Philippines, there are tensions between traditional values such as family-centeredness, religion, and conservative norms, and liberal or global norms such as gender equality, LGBTQ+ rights, and modern consumer lifestyle. Educational inequality affects who can fully benefit from these cultural and global opportunities, creating social and economic gaps. In short, the Philippines' cultural strength lies in its English skills and global connections, but it faces challenges in balancing tradition with modern global norms and ensuring equal cultural benefits for all.
For today's report, it's all about interstate peace from developed country, which is Japan, and developing country, which is the Philippines. So it starts from Japan. Develop security alliance, for example, US and Japan. Advanced defense technology, strong diplomacy, and mitigate interstate trade economic interdependence with neighbors creates civilizing ties. So it's because of relationship to Japan to USA. So there are advanced technology defense that Japan benefits from those alliance country. So for example, if having a war, the first country to help Japan, which is USA. It's because of their relationship, so alliance relationship. So, and also the strategic competitions we have a regional can implicate Japan, the supply chain, which is vulnerability have a security implication. So that is why that advantage of the developed country, it's because of their high technology, high defense technology, that when it comes a conflict, they are not worried about their safety. It's because they had a relationship with the United States. So, and because of their high technology also, and they can really help them to protect their people. It's because of that. So when it comes to Philippines, the Philippines regional economic operations, which is ASEAN or ASEAN or ASEAN, or which stands for Associations of Southeast Asian Nations. So this Asian comprising 10 Asian countries, which is Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, Malaysia, Philippines, Cambodia, and Singapore. So the main purpose of this science or objective of this science is to promote economic, political, social cooperations to among its members. So this is a international organizations that help the Philippines to consider as an developing country. So in the near future, hopefully that the Philippines are considered also as one of the developed country in the near future. So because now we are limited for geopolitical leverage, dependence on the security partnership, of course, to the US, diba? That is why we are member of UN. It's because we are dependent, because we have nothing. We have nothing when it comes to the advanced technology defense, and also can concentrate our foreign policy and dependence. So yeah, we are depending on of them. For example, the Philippines, we are depending on the US or the other country that members of UN. That is why we join UN. If we remember that we remember going back that time that World War II, we are colonized by the different colonizer, but we are thankful to the US because of their health, their advanced technology. We are now free. We have the freedom, and we are celebrating our Independence Day. It's because of the help of the US. So that is why we are a member of them. We are a member of United Nations. So hopefully that in the near future, we the Philippines are considered as one of developed country by the help of our governments. That's it for today. Thank you.
Next is the internal stability and conflict of both nations. In Japan, they have strong institutions and social safety nets, contain social unrest, international law and cooperation aid in managing transnational crime. Its constraints, however, they have economic dislocation from globalization. Example is the industrial restructuring that can create social friction, demographic shifts, stress social services. In Japan, they have stable economy because of the strong institutions, social safety nets, and laws. But globalization and an aging population can create social problems. In the Philippines, we have global norms, aid, and transnational network supports, peace building, and conflict resolution. Diaspora lobbying can spotlight abuses. Its constraint, however, can create economic inequality and marginalization exacerbated by globalization, can fuel insurgency or localized conflict. Illicit transnational flows, for example, the drugs, human trafficking, and affect security. In the Philippines, we get help from international aid, global networks, and supports from Filipinos abroad. But inequality, insurgencies, and crimes like drugs and human trafficking causes instability. In short, Japan has stronger alliances and stable institutions but faces economic demographic pressures. Meanwhile, in Philippines, stronger regional and global cooperation but struggles with inequality, crime, and dependence on others for security.